Hey, in today's video, I'm going to review ClickUp's public roadmap and strategy. The goal of this video is to see if there's alignment between the two of them and see if their strategy is also built for bringing business growth, business impact for the company. So let's start high level. Let's talk about what is the vision and what our strategic goals are for ClickUp. So the first one is their vision. What is their goal as a company? So basically what they talk about in their website is that they are the everything app for work. So one app for projects, knowledge, conversations, and more. Get more done faster together. That's what they have as their vision, let's say tagline of the vision. I also dive deeper through their communications, through their blogs, through their news to try to identify better what could be their strategic goals. Of course, you could identify some of them based on their website. And the first one is that they seem to be talking about eliminating AI sprawl and fragmented workflows. And by this, they are trying to integrate AI directly into all their workflows, like the tasks, the documents, the chat, the whiteboards. So trying to be able to bring contextual intelligence to all the workflows that are embedded in their tools or in their tool. Or tool, set of tools, depends if you want to count each one of the applications as a separate one, like the chat and the doc, or you consider ClickUp as a one holistic tool. In any case, they want to bring one AI that is able to look through all the different information that you have and that is able to give you the best insights or the best recommendations or the best whatever is the AI going to help you doing, instead of just trying to focus on a specific part of the workflow. So let's say communication, or let's say task management or project management or whatever it is. The next strategic goal, in my opinion, is that they want to drive productivity and efficiency. And probably this kind of goes without saying as part of the vision of the company. And as part of this, of course, what they want to bring is a set of tools for the companies to be more proactive and be more efficient. This will include different things like automating tasks or streaming workflows, for example. And finally, the third strategic goal, in my opinion, is going to be that they want to enhance the collaboration and communication. And you can see that some of the latest releases have been, and investments basically have been in features like ClickUp's chat and whiteboard, which are very focused on bringing collaboration and communication across teams. And you can see here that is definitely targeting different workflows or tools like Slack or Miro that would not be needed anymore by the companies if the feature or the tool is good enough. So if you think about the position of ClickUp and who are they competing against, basically some of the main competitors for them is going to be Notion, Monday.com, and if you expand, there's going to be others, more fringe ones like Slack and Miro. They're going to be for more specific tasks, specific workflows. And if you want to go maybe a step further, you could say that even tools like Microsoft Office or Google Workspaces could be considered to a certain degree part of their competitors. If you want to know more about how to achieve alignment between your strategy and your roadmap, I put a webinar together that it's free and you can go and check it out. The link is down in the description. Before starting with the review of the roadmap, I want to say that I don't have access, obviously, to ClickUp's real product roadmap. Neither I have access to their strategic goals. I get this information from what is available in their website and their pages. So I cannot say for sure that this is really all the tasks that they have in their product roadmap, neither all their strategic goals. And definitely I don't have an insight, for example, in what is their go-to-market strategies. So are they growing into certain areas, geographies, or how they are selling the product? This part I have not looked into. So if we take a very quick look at their product roadmap and how they have it available in the website, you can see that they have not structured this as a typical roadmap. Basically, they are talking about focus areas, which I think is very fair and very interesting way of putting it because, well, you never know when something is going to be available or not. Sometimes not so easy to put dates to the feature. So this is scheduled for H1 2025, which at this point is pretty much gone. And now here they basically categorize this in different main categories. So first of all, they have enhanced scheduling, project, and resource management. And here you can see that most of these ones are new calendar experience, improved Gantt experience, workload 2.0 and 2.1. Basically looks like more improvements in existing features. So enhancing what has been done. Then there is increased visibility and reporting. As you can imagine, again, improving the way that they are doing the visibility reporting, visibility being that the way that they show fields in lists or project overview page or different things. And then the same goes for the reporting. Then they have different AI tools or different AI features that they are planning or opportunities, depends on how they are considering them. I honestly don't know how they work internally, so I don't know how they work with those ones. But here you can see that it is AI basically for most of or many of the tools or the features, main features that they have in ClickUp. So for example, in cards, in Google Calendar, Project Note Taker, and they even have something like AI tool for searching the web, and integrations with more LLMs. Then there is more elevated ClickUp chat and communication. Again, basically here we are talking about enhancing and improving existing features. That's what it is here, all these features here. Finally, there's new functionality here. So this, you could argue, that are going to be the newer things that they are bringing. So subfolders, custom fields, and layout by task type. So how do you visualize them? Gallery view, table view 2.0. This sounds more like an enhancement because the classic database views. So basically improving that one. That's what it sounds like to me. Recurring schedule trigger, whiteboard upgrades. That's upgrading, not necessarily new functionality. And MS Team Importer. So that seems to be a new functionality, and doc improvements. So again, more improvements. And finally, there are some additional admin capabilities and permissions that are going to probably improve, especially for the administrators of the tool. It's going to improve their experience. Now, if we go here, I did something similar as I did in the buffer roadmap. I just brought all of these tools, features, that they have planned for this first half a year. And then I put here, I took what is the topic that they included in. So basically the same ones that I just went through. So AI is seamlessly embedded, increasing visibility, and has scheduling, and where do they belong, these ones. Here I added two things. One of them is which one of the three main strategies I think each one of these features falls into. And then for each feature, I look into, do they focus more on retention or do they focus more on growth? And now what I did is the analysis. And as part of the analysis, this was just a very quantitative analysis. Of course, I did more qualitative one, but this is from the quantitative point of view. I look at the strategic goals and which ones were the number of features per strategy. So basically, you can see that for driving productivity, there's 10 tasks. For eliminating AI sprawl and fragmented workflows, there's 8. And for enhancing communication and collaboration, there's 19. To a certain degree, it makes sense and it's relatively well distributed, but probably because they recently released chat, whiteboard, there's a little bit more things or more features coming as follow-ups there. And then finally, I also look into how many of the features are focused on growth and how many are focused on retention. As you can see that there's quite a bit bias towards retention. I'll come back to that in the analysis part. Now let's go through what do I think that works in the roadmap. So first of all, I think that there's a very good alignment between this roadmap and their strategy. You can see that most of the features that they're talking about fall in or are targeting some of the parts of the strategy that they have. That's something that I was discussing earlier. And most of them, you can see that they are falling either in the productivity, driving productivity, or in the AI, or enhancing collaboration. And the last one, you could say that there's some for maintenance, but it makes sense that there's always some kind of level of maintenance work being done in a roadmap. The next one is that I think it's great that they have a transparent public roadmap, which I think that it benefits a lot for the users to understand where they're going, and the company also to gather feedback from the users. And I didn't show this, but let me show you one thing, is that they also have a feature request portal. I didn't show it from here because this is, well, not so easy to show as it was with Buffer, where it's more like a Kanban board and it's very easy to follow. This is not a Kanban board, so it's not so easy to follow, but they have a lot of the different requests, which are then grouped into the public roadmap that we saw earlier. So these are basically the same ones. And here you can see which ones are in progress, but again, because it's not in a Kanban, it's not so easy to follow. But again, they have a good mix of requests that have a ton of abodes and requests that don't have too many abodes. Why I think that this is healthy is because this means that they are leveraging, or they are both paying attention to the customer request, but also to internal priorities that might be also more aligned towards, or they are aiming more towards driving the strategic goals. So I think that this is a great thing from this roadmap. Now let's go through what could be improved in the roadmap and in their strategic work that they have. So first of all, I think that the strategy, it's quite vague, meaning that the strategic goals that they have now are so wide that pretty much anything could fall there. Meaning that, yes, the roadmap is aligned with the strategy, but the strategy is so broad that it doesn't bring really much focus for the work, the development, where the teams want to go in the future. I think another one point that I see is that there's no clear growth initiatives, at least not that I can see here. Most of the things that are in the roadmap, the features that are there, they have very heavy focus in retention. And if I'm honest, with the ones that were shown there as part, or as being promoting growth, I could also have an argument that they are promoting retention. So let's go back here, and I see that there's only 3 tools or features that are promoting growth. One is AI tool to search a wave, ClickUp's recordings, and MS Teams importer. Why I think, these ones, depends on how you take them. You could say that could help somehow the growth. So for example, especially with the MS Teams importer, this could be something that could help some teams that are considering or that they are using MS Teams, how they are going to bring all that information into the chat functionality from ClickUp. Again, is that promoting growth? Well, if we're generous, maybe. And I guess that, and I think that this applies basically for all the other 3, is that they could promote some growth, but they could be just considered as retention ones. There are many roadmap items as well that are focused on UI and UX revamps. Not that there is not important, but again, this is probably more for retention. It could potentially bring some growth because of rejuvenating the experience, making it easier. That's true. It can maybe bring some of the customers or some of those prospects to be convinced about the product. One of the things that I haven't seen here, and maybe they have it and it's just part of their maintenance work, is that I don't see any explicit work or focus on performance and reliability. And I think that when you have a tool that it's complex, that it has many components, I think that it can be quite easily losing performance. And how do you make sure that you are able to scale everything up? I think that that's something that's very important. It might be that at this point it's not a problem. It might be that they have solved it. It might be that they have it as part of the maintenance work and it's not something that they talk too much about. But I think that that's something that I had not noticed in the roadmap. And I also have been looking a little bit more further into their website, and I noticed that they had this ClickUp's management tool. Basically, they offer you ClickUp's that you can bring and that you can start using, which is great. Again, this requires management. It reduces the ease of use of the tool. And when you have too many apps that you had to be turning on and off, I'm pretty sure that users probably are going to forget about some of them or not going to find the value in some of them. So this is always probably going to require then a lot of training, a lot of learning how to use it, or even have internal management in the users. But I have in the companies, by the way, or users companies. But I have not seen anything on the roadmap. It might be that it's very easy to use. I tried ClickUp a long time ago, so I cannot tell for now, right now how it is. So what would be some of my recommendations and notes? So I think that the strategy, first of all, is very broad, and it might fail at bringing focus in the company. The vision, I also think that is even broader, obviously. And I see a funny problem with the vision is that when you're talking about the everything app, even if it's for work, you could include things like HR, accounting, CRMs, and I don't think that those are part of the focus for them. So I think that it would be good to bring maybe a little bit more clarity on what the everything app for work actually means, because it could be so many different things. On the other hand, they have a big team in the company. I think that I found like over 1,300 people in LinkedIn. That doesn't mean that they are right now all of them working for the company, and there can be people that are not there. So, but just a rough number. So it's a big team, but still, I don't know if the size of this team would be able to fulfill such a big ambition. I'm not sure. I don't see any new products to cover new workflows in the plans, and I think that that's potentially a problem. Yes, last year they introduced the whiteboard and the chat to compete with Miro and Slack, basically, I'm guessing. And I think that this current roadmap is very focused on enhancing existing workflows and integrating more features into the Everything app rather than launching an entire new product lines. I think that at this point, ClickUp is close or very close to achieve their vision. And I don't know that the AI for everything really sounds like the best strategy, in my opinion, unless you have a very real, clear solution for an actual problem that the users have. Right now, to be honest, it feels a little bit like running the AI hype train that many companies are doing, to be honest, and investors are asking for, so it's kind of understandable. But potentially that has the problem that it's a ton of investment for maybe not something that the customers potentially need. And if your users don't use it, then, well, yeah. AI for AI's sake is not good, but of course, you can bring AI in many very good ways. And I'm not the person to judge it, but it sounds a little bit like right now it's just in the status of bringing AI to everything just so we tick the box of having AI. I would also say that probably the strategic goals are very heavily focused on retention, so productivity, collaboration, those are things that they already have. There might be other strategic goals, as I said, that I'm not aware of, but based on what I've seen out there, those seems to be the things that they are more important and they're mentioning the most. So they're still, of course, on top of their minds. And that seems to be where a very heavy focus of the company is, which means that this brings a ton of focus on retention, but not so much focus on growth. And finally, I think that they are hitting this complexity moment where they have brought already quite many tools into ClickUp, quite many different functionality, the chat, the whiteboard, the tasks, and so on. And every time that you add more functionality, it's going to be more difficult to integrate. And you can see that there's already different features or different activities that they're having in the roadmap to really improve the experience on existing functionality that they have created in the past. And this probably is something, a work that compounds over time when you are adding more or wider functionality, more productivity tools, more collaboration, then this is going to be more complex for them to manage and more difficult for them to do. I'm very tough actually to really keep a simple experience. And not saying that it's not possible. I think that some of these tools have done a very good job at keeping a relatively simple experience, but it requires them, or it's difficult for them to achieve this work. And probably the work that needs to be done in order to add a new tool. It's much more than just that, because you have to see how it works with the whole ecosystem. So in summary, I think that ClickUp is probably a very good tool for people that are trying to find that tool to do most of their work. But they're very close at this point to achieve their vision. And based on what I've seen in the website, based on what I've seen in the different communication that they have, at this point, they have not defined very clearly what is the next goal for the company or the next growth lever that they are going to have. I think that that's one of the challenges for a company in this kind of situation, is how are you going to grow? Of course, there might be a ton of growth to be achieved just because of geographic expansion or new industries expansion. That might be their strategic goals at this point, but that I had not been able to find anywhere. It might be that it's possible that that's something or the direction that they are trying to go at this point, and maybe not try to grow or change so much the strategy in the product, but they want to basically change the strategy or drive the strategy and the growth through go-to-market strategic activities and not so much into what is in the product. But as for the product strategy, I think that at this point is in a very mature state, and there's not very clear growth levers from my point of view at this point. If you want, I put together a webinar that is going to help you understand how to align your roadmap and your strategy. And also I have built a course that is going to help you learn how to start implementing this process into your company. If you're interested, you can find the links in the description. I'll see you in the next one.